from the studios of Canton High School, it's Focus on Football with Ben Aronson and Matt Martin.
Welcome back to Focus on Football. I'm Ben Aronson here with
Matthew Martin.
Matt's been doing this thing where he writes it on the board for me, so I don't have to say it wrong. Week 15 preview of NFL games. Huge week for playoff hopefuls.
Lot of
great games.
All these games involve potential playoff teams. Lot of win or go home scenarios. I'm excited.
Let's get right into it.
Thursday
Start
night.
at the top.
This could be the game of the week.
Definitely could be the game of the week.
LAC Chargers at the Chiefs. I'm excited for this one. I think a big thing is going to be the Chargers pass rush trying to get to Patrick Mahomes. Now that Spencer Ware is there, that KC running game hasn't been the same. Kareem Hunt was a very big piece of that team. I think another big thing. I think as much as that's probably the matchup to watch, the KC offense versus the Chargers defense. I think what's going to decide the game is the Chargers offense versus the KC defense, because if Melvin Gordon coming back, this game is going. The Chiefs offense is probably going to get a decent amount of points. The KC defense is not very good. The Chargers are the more complete team. KC has the more higher power offense. I'm excited to see what this Chargers offense does against this KC defense.
And you look at how teams have been successful against KC in the past. They run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You look back at the Patriots, especially. Sony Michel had a huge game.
Focus on the run.
If they have Melvin Gordon, that's a game changer for the Chargers team. But if it's a guy like Austin Eckler, who's more of a pass catching back, you could see them having less success against this Kansas City defense. Eric Berry's back, right? So that brings our defense to another level. But Matt said it perfectly. The Chargers are the more complete team. They have the better defense, and they have a really strong offense. But the Chiefs have a even better offense and a subpar defense. So it's going to be a battle to watch. I think it's in Kansas City. I can't go against Kansas City at home, so I'm going to pick Kansas City in this game.
The Chargers, last week or 2 weeks ago against Pittsburgh, they really exploited the matchup of Keenan Allen. They would line him up in the slot and get matchups against linebackers for play the game, third and fourth, trying to get into field goal range. They got the matchup of him on a linebacker, got the first down, game-winning field goal. But I don't think Melvin Gordon's going to play. And I think if it comes down to a shootout, which I think is possible, because I think this KC defense can wear down the Chargers defense, this KC offense can score points on the Chargers defense, I'm going to pick KC at home. Patrick Mahomes showed me a lot last week. He was facing adversity against one of the best defenses in the NFL, and
I think
he came to play.
Last week's Baltimore defense is probably even better than the Chargers. So I think we both got the Chiefs in that game. Moving on, you know who Matt's picking.
This is the season on the line for Green Bay.
Going into Chicago, into Soldier Field, a place where Aaron Rodgers has won many times before, but this isn't the same Bears team that Aaron Rodgers is used to.
This isn't the same Packers team that we saw for most of the season.
Jay Cutler is gone. This Packers team is worse. These teams played earlier in the year, had an amazing game.
Rodgers on one leg, was throwing dimes.
Matt, you're picking the Packers.
I'm picking the Packers. I think Chicago might be riding a little high off their win. I think the Packers team is rejuvenated. They kind of bought it in under Philbin, I believe. Philbin showed them last week that he cared about them. He was believing in his players, throwing those 2 early challenges, and the Packers really responded. The Bears don't have it on offense. Mr. Trubisky is not very good. This Packers pass rush has been developing, getting better. I think Tariq Cohen is going to be a game changer in this game.
Injury report for this game.
But I kind of how we talk about how New England just has Pittsburgh's number. I think the Packers just have the Bears' number. Aaron Rodgers has repeatedly shown success against the Bears. I think he's going to come out with a great game, like he did last week against Atlanta. They're not going to take their foot off the pedal like they did last week. That's why they only scored 34 points. They could have put up more. I think Green Bay's going to come out firing, come out ready to play on offense.
Mike Daniels on the IR.
Yeah. And I think Green Bay's going to win this game.
Nick Perry's in the IR.
Yeah, Nick Perry sucks.
Muhammad Wilkerson's in the IR. Jesus.
He's not since week 3.
I knew that, but I didn't know that there's many injuries. Brian Balog is not playing. Bell, the tackle, is he a starter?
I thought he was a guard, yeah. First, I don't know.
Taylor, starter.
All three of them missed last week. It didn't lead to too much issue.
That's
Obviously, the Falcons defense is far worse than the Bears defense. But I'm not going to pick against Aaron Rodgers. With his back against the wall, I just feel like he's never really, when his back's against the wall, he always comes out firing, always comes out ready to play. Devontae Adams has been a force to be reckoned with recently. Bryce Callahan is out for Chicago, which is a big injury. I think Green Bay's going to be able to exploit it. EQ St. Brown's been getting going. Aaron Jones has been getting loose. Last week in McCarthy's last game, we saw like a 50-50 split, which was atrocious. But we saw last week 42 snaps for Jones, 24 for Williams. I expect that.
Callahan's playing.
Really?
Not on the injury report anymore. They took him off.
Still picking the Packers.
Eddie Jackson's questionable.
There. Yeah, all right.
I'm gonna pick the Bears.
No shock today. No, I don't blame you. Smart pick.
As much as I believe in Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, I just think the Bears defense is gonna give them all they got. That's been the strength of this team. Mitchell Trubisky showed us that at points he can make good throws. Packers defense isn't great. I think the game will be close. I don't think it's going to be the Packers getting blown out. I think it might even come down to the wire here, but I'm going to pick the Bears just because that defense is too good right now.
Understandable. Moving on.
Another big game.
Another big game for the Packers for me.
The Packers.
Miami at Minnesota. It's just Miami's strength is their run D, and Minnesota has fired John DeFilippo, their offensive coordinator, because Mike Zimmer wants to approach a more run-heavy approach, which feeds pretty well. And for Miami, we saw last week, couldn't stop the Patriots and Tom Brady. Obviously, Tom Brady and the Patriots' pass offense is far different than Minnesota. Minnesota looked unexplosive Monday night. They didn't look great. They looked boring. I'm scared about Miami's offense versus this Minnesota defense. What are your thoughts on this game? I just don't think Minnesota's a good team.
The first thing that jumped out to me is that Miami, who has been playing in nice 80-degree weather, will be traveling into ice-cold Minnesota. First concern.
Into the dome.
Oh my God! I forgot Minnesota played in a dome. Disregard that point.
Into the dome.
In my head, I was thinking, did the dome erupt? Didn't it fall apart?
Yeah, their old one.
And they built a new one?
No, their old one, and they played at University of Minnesota for a couple of years, and they went to the new one.
Okay.
There you
Disregard
go.
that point. I didn't know that they rebuilt the dome. Okay, so lucky for Miami, but from watching the Patriots game, it took a miracle for Miami to win. Their offense did look pretty good, but Minnesota's defense is way better than New England's. It seems like whenever an offensive coordinator or head coach gets fired, the team always plays better. This year I'm thinking Packers. McCarthy gets fired, Rodgers and Packers have a great game. Hugh Jackson gets fired, Baker Mayfield and the Browns win 3 games. I think it's going to motivate Mike Zimmer to come up with a great offensive game plan for his team this week. I think we've seen the Miami run defense play great, but if they don't have Howard in that secondary for
that's going to be big.
Miami, then you can see guys like Thielen and Diggs go off like we saw guys like – and Miami was horrible against Gronk last week. Kyle Rudolph's a good tight end. I'm picking Minnesota. I don't think they're a good team, but I think they win. I think Miami is bad. And if they win this game, they get to 8 wins. And if they're in the wild card, they might be, besides last year's Bills, they might be one of the worst wild card teams ever.
I think that play last Sunday with the Miami Miracle could be that galvanizing moment, that spark.
Or like you talked about with the Bears,
could be riding
we
high.
beat the Patriots. We beat the Patriots. The Patriots beat the Vikings. We'll beat the Vikings.
100%. It could be a big spark that they're riding. They're saying we're 7-6. This is a game in the tight AFC wildcard race. We need to win. Minnesota doesn't need to win this game. They could really use to win this game, but it's not.
This is the easy. They need to lose 2 games for the Packers to make the playoffs, right?
And this is going to be one of them. Pick Miami.
All right, picking Minnesota. So far we've disagreed on these 2 games.
What a shock they both involved the Packers.
Indianapolis at Dallas.
Dallas at Indianapolis.
Dallas at
Sorry,
Indianapolis.
I didn't write it out for you or anything.
I think I'm picking.
I'm picking the Colts because I I don't know. I like riding with teams that have their backs against the wall, and I like what teams against the ball with their backs against the wall that I have faith in. I have faith in Frank Reich. I have faith in Andrew Luck. This defense look better. Dallas can drop this game, and it won't
Still
affect
in the
them.
division, yeah.
Thus, they could lose out. They can still win the division.
Yeah.
Honestly, Dallas offense has looked explosive with Amari Cooper, and
And the weakness of this Indianapolis defense is that secondary.
I think their pass rush is going to get after Dak Prescott a little bit. We saw Zach Martin get hurt last week, which is a big injury to that O-line. I like this Indianapolis offense and what they do. The Houston defense is up there with the Cowboys defense, and Indianapolis looked pretty solid last week. T.Y. Hilton wasn't really supposed to play, and then he played and he was hurt. Got 24 points. Marlon Mack looked pretty good. I like the versatility of this Colts offense, and at home versus Dallas, this could be a letdown spot. Dallas coming riding off a couple big wins. Last week was a very emotional one. So was the one versus New Orleans. I'm going to pick Indianapolis.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Indianapolis too. The inconsistent quarterback play of Dak Prescott is why I'm going to pick Indianapolis, because we're going to see. I think this is going to be a pretty good game. It might even. I think it's going to be. I'm not going to say high scoring, but I think it's going to be a battle of the offenses. I think both defenses will kind of do what they do. Dak Prescott has been really bad. The thing that's been carrying this.
He's looked a little bit
He's looked better with Cooper, but some of the throws that he makes are just so questionable.
Dallas had them shut out last week, and then he had that turnover inside their own 20 that led to Philly's first touchdown.
Yeah.
Really changed the game.
I think I'm just going to pick it based off of quarterbacks because I think they're pretty equal, other than obviously they have a better run game, but I'm going to pick Andrew Luck over Dak Prescott any day, so I'm going to pick the Colts at home. New England at Pittsburgh.
We're going to disagree on this one.
I'm picking New England.
I'm picking Pittsburgh.
Big Ben might not even play. He's questionable.
He'll play.
If he doesn't.
If he doesn't play, my pick automatically changes because that's just unfair. I have to go rather Josh
Pittsburgh
Dobbs.
has lost 3 straight. James Conner not healthy. They can really focus on Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. New England lost to Miami. They're angry. They know they need to win this game to get the 2 seed. They've had Pittsburgh's hand every single year that they've played, especially in the playoffs. Brady's the better quarterback. Pittsburgh defense isn't good. Pittsburgh defense is not that good. Their secondary still.
Secondary's a little hurt.
Secondary's a little hurt.
They have the better defense in this game, though.
They have the better defense in this game, but I think Pittsburgh, New England always. Bill Belichick is. Mike Tomlin is Bill Belichick's son.
I feel like is Connor not definitely? I thought he was back.
No,
in this
he's
game.
out. No, he's on my fantasy team. 2 leagues. He's out. He's not going to play.
New England does have Pittsburgh's number in the past, especially at home in Gillette. That's not really a conversation. You look at this game in Pittsburgh. One of the big things has been in the past, it's been Ben, Bell, Brown, and they sell out to stop Bell, and they just kind of match up their best corner on Brown, and it's led to some things. But weakness of this Patriots defense. Well, the whole thing, but their whole defense is a kind of weakness. But their pass D last week looked vulnerable. Gilmore can do a pretty good job on Brown, I think, or Juju. I think he'll match up with Brown. But Juju's looked great. Last year was kind of the first. Last year was his rookie year that they had those 2 weapons in the receiving game, and Smith had a pretty big game. He almost had that game-breaking touchdown at the end.
When you think about it, you do not need to even focus on the run game now. No Bell, and they don't have Connor. So they're not going to focus on Bell. They're going to focus on that passing game.
Seemed really revenge game. But I think this Patriots team is worse than last year's team. I am kind of low on this Patriots team, not coming out, not like they're going to go 11-5. Well, actually, if they lose this game, that'd be the best they go. But I'm saying, I don't think, not like they're going to have a bad year record-wise. When it comes down to these big games, I don't trust the defense and this offense.
So you trust Big Ben? Who was
at home, and they should have won this game last year.
It's true, but I'm not trusting.
It's going to be a close game. I think I want to ride with the home team. I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be a really exciting game. If this game was in New England, I'd pick New England no matter what. but I think Pittsburgh's going to come out with a big home win. They've been in a skid recently, which they need to turn around. New England does need to turn around after that loss to Miami. But this is a big game for Pittsburgh because if they lose this game, Baltimore's got an easy one this week. They got Tampa Bay. They're coming. Do they play again?
Yeah, I think they play one more time.
No,
they don't.
They play twice. I think
yeah.
I think they split it 1-1, right?
Yep.
They know New England. They know Baltimore's coming. They need to win this game.
At the same time, New England knows Pittsburgh's coming.
Pittsburgh
wants the 2 seed.
They can get the 2 seed.
They want.
Well, Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh's got New Orleans left. They got Cincy again. Pittsburgh. It's in the back of my mind that they need to win this game. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh.
Back in New England. This game would have been like so good at the beginning of the year. Like we were like.
This is when I go home, and Rams coming off of a tough showing last week.
I don't this. Like the Eagles secondary against Jared Goff and his weapons on offense.
Boy is going to be like, man,
this is going to be bad.
Going to get carved.
The Eagles are going to get blown up. Eagles are going to get eliminated.
It's going to be it for them.
Yeah, Rams are going to kill them. We're not going to talk about that much.
The Philly defense is just so battered down. I mean, we've seen teams that have been able to slow down them a little bit. The Lions have a relatively strong pass D, and they game plan very well for that. Vic Fangio, and that's the best defense in the NFL, and they had a very strong game plan, very strong cover scheme. Peterson's an offensive coach. They look bad last Sunday, honestly, against Dallas.
It kind of makes you think, how on earth did Philly do it last year with the weapons that they have on offense? Obviously, they
had Jeffrey, they had Ajayi.
Is Jeffrey out?
No, but like
Ajayi tore his ACL.
The offensive line's a little battered down. They had the defense was very good last year.
They made a ton of accusations on the acquisitions.
They're out here accusing people.
I've been reading too much. They got Michael Bennett. I don't know. Something didn't work. Super Bowl hangover for Philly, but also just gonna blow them out. We can both agree on that. New Orleans at Carolina, by Carolina.
Another winner home. New Orleans coming off. If New Orleans was riding high, I'd feel differently.
Yeah.
But Carolina's skidding. New Orleans has that. New Orleans has that 1 seed in sight, and they know they need to bounce back. They know they can take advantage of this Carolina secondary.
Michael Thomas gonna have a big game.
It's gonna be fun.
I think the Saints won. I think we both think the Saints.
I think that the Saints pass rush will get after Cam Newton.
Yeah. It's the end of the Panthers season. Christian McCaffrey will probably have a huge game though.
Yeah.
Against New Orleans, but that's about it. So games we're disagreeing on: New England, Miami, and Green Bay, Chicago.
Enjoy the Saturday games.
Texans, Jets.
Texans at Jets.
You know what would be awesome?
That could be a tough game. I think the Texans can lose that game.
Let's do hypotheticals right now. Pittsburgh beats New England. The Jets beat the Texans. Pittsburgh loses to the Saints. Patriots win out. That'd be awesome.
You meant New England beats Pittsburgh.
No, Pittsburgh can beat New England. Then Pittsburgh loses to the Saints. 6 losses. Houston loses to the Jets. 5 losses.
Well, why do you want New England to lose this game?
I'm not saying they can.
You're saying.
I'm not saying they will. I'm saying they can. So, because Pittsburgh would fall, Pittsburgh would get that win, then they would lose to the Saints, so they would have 6 losses. Texans would be 11-5 if they lose to the Jets. Patriots have the tiebreaker over the Texans.
You want to talk about an even better hypothetical?
The Green Bay Packers beat the Bears.
Chicago.
The Miami Dolphins beat Minnesota. The Seahawks somehow lose to the San Francisco 49ers.
That doesn't even matter.
The Saints beat the Panthers.
The
Rams beat the Eagles. The Redskins lose Mark Sanchez.
Keep Seattle.
Joe Philbin gets extended.
Go to break. Green Bay can beat Chicago. Miami can beat Minnesota.
New Orleans can beat Carolina. The Rams can beat the Eagles.
These 2 games should happen. Aaron Rodgers, just give it to me. Just give it to me.
Predictions.
Green Bay goes on the road and beat Chicago. That's a bold prediction.
Let me look at the schedule. I'm gonna pick bad games because I don't.
New
England wins by more than 10.
Miami goes on the road and beats Minnesota.
See, all your picks have already been bold predictions.
And Pittsburgh, I should go with Pittsburgh.
Buffalo's favorite against Detroit. I'm not picking it. I'm just saying. That's weird.
Oh, the worst game. Ben's like, oh, the worst game of the
I'm
league.
like,
Yes.
well, you want me to pick any of these teams? None of them will be bold.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm picking Pittsburgh over New England.
Yeah. So that's all right. So I have New England winning by 10. Let's go. Rams win by 20 or more. Is that bold enough for you? You bold enough? You good with that?
Yeah.
And finally, Tampa Bay upsets Baltimore in Baltimore.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that.
So you had more than 10,
More than
120, and Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Green Bay over Chicago, Miami over Minnesota.
Pittsburgh.
Is Pittsburgh over New England bold enough for you?
Yeah, I'll give you it. I've picked close enough games like that.
It's like, oh, the Browns playing for the Browns.
Focus on football. Week 15 preview. We're disagreeing on 3 games. We'll see who's right. Tune into the YouTube. Tune into Ken Community
Check
Television.
out the YouTube. A lot of videos to watch.
Watch our preview. Just watch our growth from our first video to now. It's an amazing thing to watch. But I'm Ben Aronson here with.
Matt Martin.
We will see you next week.